Good afternoon, Britain. It's now 20 minutes to 3, and a woman who joined a terror organisation in Nigeria, well, she's been given asylum in the United Kingdom.
Yes, the 49-year-old, well, she tried and failed 8 times to secure asylum in this country and was only given the right to stay once she joined the separatist group called the Indigenous People of Biafra. Well, no, not me either.
Of course, as well as being a separatist organisation, it's a terror group. So let's discuss this with the criminal defence lawyer, Paul Britton, because, Paul, please help us make sense of this.
I mean, look, it is a terrorist group defined in Nigeria, but not a terrorist group defined in UK law. Biafra was a state that only existed for about 3 years and now forms part of what we know as Nigeria. The Nigerian national came to the UK in 2011, made a few asylum claims between that date and joining this Indigenous People of Biafra group. Even though the judge in the most recent decision found that she only joined that group to bolster her claim for asylum, so the judge accepts that it wasn't true and it was fake. The judge has said, but if you go back, there is still a risk that you'll be in danger. I mean, the individual herself has said that she fears that she'll disappear, basically. And so the judge has said, well, on that basis, there's a legitimate fear and you should be allowed to stay on your 8th application. Now, this is an appeal judge, so the government have to respond. Keir Starmer has publicly said that the decision is wrong. I always think it's a bit naughty for politicians to wade into judicial systems and make those sort of determinations, particularly so early, because we do have the separation of powers. What would have been more sensible was to say that the government will look at this decision and respond appropriately. The appropriate response will probably be what we call a judicial review. The government has 3 months to make that application, and it will be on probably the basis that there was unfairness maybe in the system, some sort of irregularity, but it's very narrow.
Will her lawyer representing her have helped her come up with this?
Creative.
Because very creative. Tried and failed 8 times. Now suddenly she joins a terrorist organisation in Nigeria. The judge here accepts that that was bogus, but because there's a possibility that because she said she was, she might. I mean, it's just ridiculous, Paul.
I mean, if a lawyer has advised to do that, that's outrageous. You know, that really crosses the line. If she joined it of her own fruition and thought, well, I'll join this terrorist group, I don't see. Yeah, what's funny is that it must have been very premeditated. You know, she joins the group, distances herself from it, and then says, "Well, if I go back, that same group will attack me." You know, in Nigeria, the group that we're talking about are involved in what's defined as guerrilla warfare with the government. So they are a seriously not pleasant group to get on the wrong side of.
Nigeria and the United Kingdom are bound by the same conventions that we've signed up to at the United Nations. The Refugee Convention means that we have to accept people who claim asylum on our soil and that we accept their claim. But also it means that the countries that they leave have to take them back if we say no. How can someone in this country claim not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, 6 times, or 7 times, but on the 8th time after 7 no's, why on earth was she still here?
Also, sorry, if anyone, just one more thing. Also, if anyone from Nigeria who happens to be part of this terror group makes their way to the United Kingdom, will they have exactly the same claim to be able to stay here for asylum because they'll risk it?
Let's deal with that first. That's the most frightening thing, because does this now set a precedent in law where anyone that has similar circumstances, whether they're bona fide or not, will now be able to make an application for asylum, and it will be granted, relying on this case as case law? That's the frightening part. What was your part, Tom?
Sorry.
How on earth does someone go through so many different things?
Yes.
Surely if you say no, you can't have asylum, you leave.
That's a very good point. So, if new evidence becomes available that wasn't available for the first go at it, you can then make a new application.
Oh, it's so transparent, Paul. It's so transparent that these people are abusing a system. No one would set up a system to work
So she orchestrated
like
or contrived some new facet, which would have been the joining of this group. She may have, we don't know, but she may have made an application, you know, being part of it, and then made another application saying that she's distanced herself from it. But the judges all seem to agree. you know, at every stage that she has made it up and that she doesn't actually hold a true
What is
belief.
judges playing out? I know we're not allowed to say anything about the judges and all of this.
Because it's
but
the law.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, but they don't have to interpret it in this way. They really, really don't.
The law
it's like
says
the
if there's a
chicken nuggets
risk...
story, like the Gaza resettlement through the Ukraine scheme.
The paedophiles who need access to their own children in this country, otherwise they'd have...
Crazy.
It just seems that there is an example after an example after an example of this system. Just it is fundamentally broken.
And in the background, the cost of it, and the last figures were about 1.4 billion. Yes, you can understand why the public are becoming increasingly frustrated with it.
Oh, now you're just trying to upset us.
I know.
Paul Britton, thank you very much indeed. You're a criminal defence lawyer. Thank you for talking us through that so calmly.
Well, goodness me, if you want to get away from some of this, genuinely, my head is scrambled with the mess that our asylum system is.